Tonight, we reach the end of The Man in the Blizzard. And sometimes the most terrifying thing isn't what almost happened to you. It's the moment you discover the truth. You weren't just in danger. You were targeted. And you have to face just how close you came to becoming another missing girl, lost to a blizzard.
The clerk's friend arrived a few minutes later, a huge man with shoulders like a refrigerator. They talked quietly, their eyes bouncing between me and the direction Peter had driven. Then the clerk said, "We'll move you, free of charge." He was trying to sound reassuring. He wasn't. They changed my room, carried my bags, and handed me a new key. I didn't feel safer, but the storm was too brutal to drive in, so I stayed. When they left, I pushed a chair under the new room's doorknob, sat fully dressed on the bed, keys in my hand, lights on. Every creak made me flinch. Every gust of wind sounded like footsteps. I didn't sleep. I just waited for morning like it was the finish line of the longest nightmare of my life. At sunrise, the roads were barely plowed, but good enough to escape. I drove to Jack's without stopping, hands locked on the wheel. On the way, I called the diner to warn them about Peter, and the woman who answered didn't sound surprised. Not relieved, not shocked, just resigned. Like she'd heard this before. "Yeah," she said quietly. "We'll take care of it." That chilled me worse than the blizzard. Looking back, I know the motel clerk didn't call the police on purpose. He didn't want trouble, didn't want questions, didn't want the kind of attention that comes when a stranger slips into a woman's room during a storm. But I learned something that night, something I'm still unlearning. You can survive the snow. You can survive the cold. But you cannot survive trusting the wrong person. Not at a diner. Not in a motel. Not in the middle of a blizzard. Not after this.
Funny thing about surviving a night like that, you don't walk away relieved. You walk away changed. So if you ever find yourself alone on a dark road, and something in your gut whispers that someone's watching you a little too closely, listen to it. Because she ignored that feeling once, and she came seconds away from becoming a name on a missing persons list. Trust your fear. It might be the only reason you live long enough to tell your story. Thanks for your time. This is The Fractured Mind.